Hey folks, I hope you're all doing well. I'm sorry that I haven't been uploading videos to this channel like I said I would be. Basically, it's internet. I basically don't have the upload bandwidth to be making, editing, and uploading videos right now because of where I'm living. I'm living on a farm out in the sticks. It's beautiful, but it's not great for uploading YouTube videos. So I've been spending all of my bandwidth on my one-to-one calls with clients. There's lots of questions coming in, and I cannot get away from the question about keto. What's Rob doing? Rob Stewart, that is. I'm sure most of you will know who he is. I keep getting asked again and again, what's Rob doing? What are your thoughts on keto? And I've had former clients as well ask me about this, even though they themselves have made progress on the whole foods, plant-based way of healing the body. And so I've got to address it again. I didn't really want to dwell on this topic too much because I feel like I've spoken enough about keto, paleo, Atkins, and all that sort of stuff in the past. But let's address it again anyway because that's what you guys want. So the first thing that I have to say about Rob is I can't disagree with how he feels. How somebody feels doing something, that's the one thing that you can't disagree with. If they say they feel a certain way about doing what they're doing, no one can argue with that. So Rob, he hasn't denounced veganism. I mean, he's maybe done a couple of things that have pushed him quite far over to the keto side of looking at life, but I don't think he's denounced vegan, whole foods, plant-based as a healing modality. And in fact, in the first video, one of the first videos he made about this whole transition is that he still recommends doing whole foods, plant-based, easy to digest, high water content, blah, 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 for phase one, which is the cleansing and detoxification phase of healing. And so with that in mind, I don't know why he isn't still pushing veganism as hard as he used to, because if that is phase one, most people coming across these videos are in the phase one situation, in my experience. And so we want to be giving as much of that cleansing, detoxification information as possible. And if that's whole foods, plant-based, then I don't think there should be this whole push for keto on his channel. But Rob is completely entitled to do what he wants with his channel, and that is purely my opinion. So there's a couple of things that have come up in this which I think are good, and a lot of people are thinking more now about food combinations, such as carbs and proteins, carbs and fats, refined carbs and fats. And when these two mix, it is deadly, and it is the cause of a lot of issues, even some of the top Western killers like diabetes, heart disease, and stuff like that. And so it does stand to reason that if you're going to cut one of those out, then things are going to go better for you. And in the past, basically, we've been cutting out the overt fats side of things, saturated fats, a lot of which is contained in animal products. And so going the complete other way, where you remove carbs from the equation, you should be able to achieve some fairly good results as well. That kind of stands to reason as a sort of logical analysis on the situation. And so it is good that this is being hauled into the limelight again, this whole issue of mixing refined fats and carbohydrates, which I do think is an issue, and that's why I don't recommend people live the lifestyle that I talk about, but eat avocados and nuts and lots of coconut and that sort of thing at the same time. I don't think that's a good combo. I think if you're going to do whole foods plant-based, then you definitely have to think about your macros a little bit, especially if you're used to eating coconut and avocado and all that sort of stuff. So I think that is a good thing that's come to light with all this. And some people, as a result of what Rob has done, are definitely thinking more critically about their own food rather than just following somebody else, be that me or Rob or whoever, blindly. I do want people to get to the point where they're really thinking about this for themselves, because that is an essential part of the healing process. You get to the point where you own what you're doing. It becomes your lifestyle. You're doing it for you, because of you, and because of how you feel, and not because of a path that anybody else has trodden. So I think the biggest difference, so those are the good points. And I think the biggest difference that I have with Rob on this is, and Rob, I would actually love to speak with you about this. And if you're willing to do an interview or something, maybe even on this channel, that would be amazing. But I think the biggest difference is how we look at fitness and health. For a long time, I've thought of this whole foods plant-based, especially the way that I do it, as an athlete's lifestyle. I think athletes will thrive on whole foods plant-based. I don't believe that cutting carbs out or cutting carbs in any way is right for an athlete. And I'm talking about, again, this is how we look at these things. What is an athlete to me? So just to define what I think of as an athlete is somebody with outstanding elite level or at least above average cardiovascular ability. I don't think of an athlete as someone that's just got a buff gym body. I don't think of that as fitness. You don't really get those sorts of people winning cycling races and running races and that sort of thing, because that's what I'm into and that's what I think of as fitness. And if you don't think of that as fitness, if you have more of a Men's Health magazine style of looking at fitness where you're just looking for buff gym bodies and stuff, then you are going to need a little bit more protein to achieve that. And some of the things that Rob has said in the run-up to this have been a little bit surprising to me, like the issues he was having with getting his traps to develop and stuff like this. I mean, yeah, I don't think that you can make those quick, almost unnatural developments to the human physique without including animal products. And I think that's a lot of what a lot of people have gone down the lines before who have gone vegan and then noticed that their gains come slower, but in my opinion, more organically. And I don't think of those bodies as particularly healthy bodies. I think they're kind of artificially bulked up. And I don't really look at them and think, yeah, that looks like a healthy, disease-proof body. And ultimately, isn't that what this channel is all about? It's about healing a disease. And so I used to be more into the bodybuilding scene. I did the whole gym thing. I used to weigh about 1.5 stone more than I do right now. 12 stone, is that about 80 kilo, 80, 85, something like that, kilos? Whereas I now weigh about 60, I weigh about 65 at the moment, I think. Not that I weigh myself very much. So I'm just not into that scene because it didn't do me any favors. It didn't result in my skin healing. It didn't feel like I was detoxifying my body when I was doing the whole paleo, low carb, gym scene stuff. And therefore I moved away from it ultimately because I wanted to heal my disease. That was my number one aim in life. And I just don't look at those bodies as healthy, desirable bodies anymore. I look at just being lean and muscular rather than bulky and muscular as being healthy. I hope I'm explaining that in the way that it's going on in my mind, but another thing about keto as well, which I don't think you can get away from, is that both processed meats and red meats appear on the carcinogenic spectrum as decided by the World Health Organization, and that's really, really hard to argue with. The WHO, the World Health Organization, is not it's not biased in the same way that a lot of other publications might be that you'll see in the health and wellness industry, like supplements that you might need and protein powders and all of that. A lot of those are advertorials. They're not particularly well documented and the science is shaky at best. But stuff that the World Health Organization publishes, you can't really be going against that stuff. And the same goes for some of the stuff that Dr. Greger has brought to life. I know that Dr. Greger himself does eat a plant-based diet, so could you argue that he's biased in that way? You could, but I would disagree because he brings everything to the surface and he analyzes what's there, and he eats a plant-based diet as a result of having analyzed that research. If you haven't watched it already, I mention it a lot. Go watch Uprooting the Leading Causes of Death. There's a US and a UK version. He goes through the top 15 killers in the West. And he points out how all of them can be helped, if not reversed completely, on a whole foods plant-based diet. And that's really hard to get away from as well. So this whole eczema healing lifestyle, it's not just about reversing eczema, it's about becoming disease proof. It's about becoming low inflammatory in your whole life, and therefore becoming disease proof, not just reversing your eczema, but creating health all the way through the body. And I don't see this happening outside of the whole foods plant-based lifestyle. I think if you've got particular body type images that you see as healthy, and that's a big part of what your aim is, then yeah, maybe you will struggle to fulfill that on this lifestyle, even though there are people out there who are vegan and who are bodybuilding and who are completely satisfied with their lifestyle choice. What do you think about this? What do you think? Leave your comments and questions down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. There's just so much I could say. It's a job to know kind of what track to let my mind go down. But another point of view is blood type. That is one area. All right, so I haven't been reconsidering whether or not there is mileage to be gained in me doing keto or anything like that, or any of my clients even following a ketogenic diet, because of what I have come to understand about animal products, but and saturated fat products and other fatty, getting your macros that way around. Just I don't see results in that area personally, and so yeah, none of that has been attractive to me. The one thing that I have been thinking a little bit about recently is the blood type diet, and whether there's any proof that I should be looking at in more scrutiny. Is there anything that I can learn from the blood type diet? Let me know. Let me know if you've ever done this for yourself, if you think there's any truth to it, or if you just think it's complete shambles and book selling bro science. Let me know your thoughts on that one. What else can I say? Look, Rob, if you are watching this video, let me know your thoughts on what I've said. I believe a healthy body is one that has a strong cardiovascular ability, that is got a fast throughput naturally without any need to supplement with fibers and unnatural things. I believe in a food-based approach, and that is why I stand firm with whole foods plant-based. But I am grateful for the dialogue that all of this stuff has raised, and it's pretty interesting seeing the comments surrounding this as pennies start to drop for people who maybe haven't tried keto and paleo themselves and have just been following blindly. I like to see them garnering knowledge over what's been going on. Anyway, just a quick word on what I have been up to aside from one-on-one coaching with people. Rebecca Bonito and I, you may know her, Rebecca Bonito. Go check out her Facebook group. If not, it's called The Eczema Expert. Learn to take control of your eczema. And she works primarily with mothers and children. And for those of you who are parents, I've probably pointed you in her direction, but we sort of work alongside. She is a fully certified naturopath, and we've been putting a course together. And so that course is due for release very soon. We're in the final stages of it now. We're getting pretty excited about sharing it with you all, and we will be looking for some of you to test run the course as well. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in getting involved. Anyway, I'll leave you with that for now. I'll see you soon.